We are having fun here on the Hotspot. I mean, good friends, good topics, good island community, and good anniversary. 55 years of serving the island is the Guam Council of Arts and Humanities. That is CAHA. They have been an amazing island organization, an institution at this point. They're inspiring creativity since 1967, and they're hosting their very first anniversary celebration, Arts in Action. And joining me now is Guam CAHA Director Sandra Flores and Vince Regis. Two people on the KUM couch, Inalahan in the house.
And Melissa.
And Melissa, okay. Well, you're very, very familiar with Inalahan, of course. Everybody's heart's down. The only thing we're missing is Papa Nijik's store. You know, we've got the Inalahan experience.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, how are you guys? How are you guys doing?
Oh my gosh. It's really exciting. We're in a new space. Mm-hmm. We have an expanded staff. We're doing our first anniversary. We've got FestPac coming up. It's great.
Mm-hmm. The arts is something that tragically, and Vince, you know this because you've done so much good work with our people with dance and expression, and tragically when it comes to academic budget cuts, they always say, well, unfortunately we got to let the arts go. So maybe break down, why is the arts so important, especially to us of Pacific Islander heritage?
Okay. Well, we were just talking about it, that the arts is art's the balance in our lives, right? Art, where do we go to when things get tough? Where do we go to feel love and higher emotions? We go to art, whether it be a painting, whether it be a nice, whether it be a dance, whether it be music. I mean, art is that balance, and art is an expression of the heart. So when I, for example, if I'm trying to tell a story or a legend, or if I want to talk about my uncles, I use art as a way to do that. So art is it's an amazing way to express what's going on in our people and in our lives.
And that's the one thing that has always amazed me, Sandra, about CAHA is it's arts and humanities, and both of those topics are so very broadly defined.
Yeah. It's what we create and why we create it, right?
Yeah.
But if I can add to what Vince was saying, lo and behold, what we love and what we cherish with art is also valued by our tourist industry. And so if I really credit CAHA and my predecessors there with investing in things like the Traditional Masters Award, of which Vince is a recipient as a dance master, and Festival on Pacific Arts, which really helped our artists to travel and see what other Pacific Islands did and to grow from that experience and bring that back to the island. And that's why we have all of the vibrant local arts, is because we've invested in it. We've shown that it's important, and our young people, I mean, since I grew up, maybe since you grew up, it's a different landscape. I mean, I grew up, it was the Batsu. That was what we called Chamorro dance. And look at us now. And I really...
That's all the gentlemen to your left over there. Now, all praise and all credit due to Vince, and it's very good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And artists like him, they, it's really changed things. And so...
Absolutely.
And what does that do for our tourist industry? It points out to them how very unique we are and the beautiful things that we produce and express. So
CAHA's mission is it touches so many aspects of our island's culture, our language, our history, our food even, the grants that you make available are so wonderful. But let's also talk about the physical, the tangible institution of CAHA before, because I know if you were someone like a painter or a poet, or you had something that you would like to exhibit, having your stuff shown off at the CAHA gallery, that was like pinnacle. You're on cloud 9 right there.
Yeah, well, we try to always offer spaces and platforms for artists. I think especially now with Sandy on board and bringing in a few other staff members, we are now wanting to be more visible and active and engaging in the community. Not that we weren't, but we definitely want to improve, especially coming out of the pandemic. Everyone is searching for something light and warm and fun. Everyone is searching for something of the heart, and I think it's through the arts that we're going to try to reach that. But yeah, it's definitely a place where artists can really either find the funding to do what they love, because not everyone's cut out for what we think is success. What's success to them is doing a beautiful artwork and expressing that, and we want to be able to continue to provide those opportunities for them.
Now, Sandra, I'm wondering who came up with the theme Arts in Action, because that is it's short, it's punchy, it's to the point, and yet it's so beautiful. I mean, it really emphasizes the need for expression and creativity.
Yeah. I think I actually did, but we threw out a bunch of things and the staff agreed. Yeah, that because like you said, yeah.
Ultimately, you could sign
out.
off on it because you are the boss.
Yeah.
No, she created it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All hail the queen. Yeah. Well, if you did in fact put your John Hancock at the bottom and everything like that, that was a decision very, very well made. I must say.
Thank you. But I'm glad you brought up the exhibit because, like I mentioned in the beginning, we have a new exhibit space. It's on the second floor of the DNA building, and we have an exhibit right now that coincides with our 55th anniversary and Humanities Month, which is October.
Okay, so what can people expect to see?
Yeah. So what we did was decide to highlight what we do, which is our grants. So, providing funding for artists of all kinds to do their projects. So we have samples of their work that we've supported over the last year. And then we also have some highlights from the Festival on the Pacific Arts that we hosted in 2016. And we have an exhibit on our masters. So it's a really beautiful space, and come enjoy. We have, like I said, a new space with lighting, with digital displays, with movable walls, stuff that we've never had before. And I think people are really going to enjoy it.
Okay, one thing that has always kind of like irked me as a proud Chamorro is when people say, like, there isn't that much good documentation of, of who we are, like, through history. And I mean, okay, there might not be, formal volumes of books who chronicle who we are, but the art definitely reflects that. And so, Vince, you were talking about, we're coming off this crazy 2-year pandemic, and we all had to, like, hunker down and everything. Are you seeing that some of the submissions and what the creative community is coming up with kind of like reflect coming out of that, maybe coming into the light, getting back to the beach, gathering again?
Yeah, well, I was just,
even some of the depression about what we had to go through.
Absolutely. I think a couple of the grants that we awarded is talking about what's the effects of COVID and what people were going through with COVID. But going back to your authenticity, right now, this generation of artists, or our generation of artists, are kind of getting past all of that. Like, we feel like all of that kind of stuff is old news. We need to figure out what the expressions are today and what creates an identity today, because we cannot live in the past. That's why, like, my work is constantly evolving, constantly moving, because I'm paying attention to what is our students saying, what is our island saying, what are we speaking, and then become the mirror of that. So if our people are speaking of healing our hearts, or we're always upset about something, or there's some sort of trauma that we needed to kind of heal, then we use the arts. I use the arts to figure out a way to either demonstrate it, show it, express it, and so that it becomes a mirror, so that our people can look. We can foster critical thinking, and then be able for them to move forward and move through it.
That's very true, because I mean, my Nana, God rest her soul, when I would visit her in Agana Heights, Sandra, is she always told me, don't ever forget where you came from and what my generation had to go through, her generation in the war. But she's like, I also want you to be your own person, and for you and your cousins to kind of find your own, chart your own path, find your own ground. And I think that's a beautiful sentiment about who we are.
It's beautiful.
And what's happening is many of our current artists are really finding a way to express their indigenous identity in whatever way, whether it be from a shirt to a sinahi to a earring, whatever it is. During our time, everything was still kind of very, like, maybe a Polynesian Pacific base. Now a lot of them are paying attention to what makes our own island unique, and how do we express that. So we see more things on the Laddystone, more things on the Sinahi. We see more dances that are now less Polynesian centric and more Chamorro interpreted, or at least the stories are more interpreted, and the themes are more Chamorro. So we're seeing a lot of changes.
Any formal gathering or event, I mean, I emceed like a human resources conference like a few months ago. You hear Sina at the beginning of every single one, because they realize it is a blessing.
Yeah,
and it's, I mean, it's right. You do the national anthem, you do Whanogi Chamorro, you may do the Inifresi, but you definitely like do Sina right afterwards. And I mean, it's assumed at this point. And I think that's great progress.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, Sandra, as someone who has culture down to your DNA and you want to perpetuate that?
Yeah, it's always been there, but I think it hit me the most when I lived in San Diego in the Chamorro community there.
I've been to the Guam Club in San Diego.
So you felt it.
Honestly, that was the best Kelagwan I've ever had in my life, was in San Diego.
Yeah,
it's alive and well out there.
Yeah, they try really hard, and it's important because they have to state who they are because no one else is going to. And so the people are really passionate, from what they wear to the food that they cook. We've got a Sackman canoe out there. We have, gosh, at one point I counted, hundreds of dancers out there. You know, it's alive and well. And actually, Vince was part of this. A lot of them are learning from their Sina, right? Their elders that came decades ago. And so they're kind of playing catch up in some cases to this renaissance. And yeah, over the last 10 years, I've really seen that. And so moving like I did through my life from the Batsu into our, indigenous expression. And they're there now, and you can see it. I think recently we saw PIFA, the Pacific Islander Festival in San Diego, right? And that is a beautiful expression of that. PIFA actually represents all of the Pacific, but I'd say 50% of it is from the Marianas. So
okay, now real quick, we got about a minute left. If people would like to not only appreciate, the wonderful work that you guys do and the art and the humanities that you house, but also participate in and be more of an active part of CAHA and contribute to the mission, how can people get involved?
Oh, wonderful. Well, we do have an artist directory if you're an artist at all, or if you want to hear about opportunities in the art. And so it's online. You can download the form and fill out and be on our artist directory and get all the news. We have a Facebook page, Guam CAHA, and an Instagram page, CAHA Guam. And through that, you can look at the events and the exhibits that we have. And don't forget about our anniversary celebration this Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, Vince, I've known you for so long. Does anybody, even at CAHA, does anyone have the personalized license plate that says CAHA? Has anybody ever gone to Ribbon Tax and registered that? I would assume, Senator, that you do again, being director.
No.
Maybe when we get our van, we'll
That's a
register.
good idea.
Yeah.
We got to get that. Okay, nobody squat on it right now, because that's shotgun. Shotgun
Trademark.
our friends at CAHA, because
Yeah.
that's definitely there. So all right, so Vince and Senator, thank you so much, and happy 55th anniversary. I know you've got a long legacy that preceded you and everything, but you guys are really continuing the very good work at CAHA. So we congratulate you.
Thank you.
Jesus, Martin.
Thank you.
All right, please stay tuned. There is more show coming up after this.